Here I am out in my tent in my yard. It's supposed to be lows tonight is 19 or 20. I thought I'd come out and check out my gear. Make sure that I can stay warm, decently warm. In case I were to take a long hike and get caught in some cold weather, to make sure that I could stay alive. My son wanted me to take his rope light out. These interesting lights that he uses for his hammock, but they blink. Kind of like a strobe light, or it is like a strobe light, or you can blink them slow. Whatever you're feeling, I guess. So I'm in my tent. It's a 2-person marmot, ultralight tent. Tungsten, I think is the name of it. And I love it. It's got plenty of room. This is underground quilt, UGQ. It's a 10-degree quilt. It's got a toe box that, if I can show you this, that you can unzip if you want it, if you were hot and want to just let it open out like a flat quilt. Or you can zip this up, keep your feet all toasty, and there's a drawstring that pulls that through. Pulls it down. Actually, it leaves a little bit bigger hole, but I tucked it in and then took the extra string and kind of puckered it up and wrapped it around. That way it keeps, I've had it in the past, like in a shelter or something, I've had cold. If the wind was blowing, I could feel it blowing through there, so I did that. And first time I've done that. Some people stuff a pair of socks in it. I'm going to try this. This should be fine. Anyway, keeps the heat in. And if you notice how they make their quilts, or in the toe area, the baffles run this way so that all the filling doesn't go to one end or the other of the quilt. Now the rest of the quilt has the baffles running head to toe, and so you can shift the down or up and down inside it to make it warmer in spots. But anyway, I think the point of that is just to keep your feet warmer. So that's how they make their quilts. And others may do that as well. I'm just not familiar with any other brands. This one has, at the top of the quilt, and I've got it kind of cinched down, it has 2 snaps. You can either open it out flat, undo these, and just use it like a regular quilt, like at home, or you can snap this together, pull these as tight as you want it, and you can slip your head up through here and let this be around your neck. It keeps the heat in. Now the rest of this, I'm gonna get cold doing it, but let me do it. You can see up in here. I got a pair of pants in there, my rain pants, in case I need to slip them on. They give you these cords, little shock cords with these little things. I don't know what you call them, plastic pieces that they have a loop sewn onto the quilt, and you can put this wherever. This goes all the way around this sleeping pad. This is a Climate Static V sleeping pad. These shock cords go all the way around it, and you can tighten it. They've got a little barrel lock that you can tighten it to keep it still. Anyway, they've got tabs on the quilt in 3 places here, farther up here, and then one on up here. I've got that run through there, closer to the top if you wanted one under your shoulders to hold it. It keeps it down, keeps this kind of tucked around you. You can slide these in and out as needed to, if you want to close it on in around you to keep the drafts down. See how it's done right now? That's still there. This I have a little bit wider here and here. Let's just slide that way a little bit to just kind of keep it tucked. Anyway, and there's another one up high if you want it, but that bothers me. I can't get in and out of it easily. So this is my quilt. And then tonight I'm sleeping with a pair of wool Injinji socks. Cuddle Duds. This is the fleeced inside, a little bit thicker, long john type thing, and matching top. And I'm going to start out with this, just this base layer and those socks. And like I said, down in the bottom of here, I've got my rain pants. Let me see if I can reach them. I've got these rain pants tucked down into the bottom of my bag. If I get cold, I can easily slip them on. They'll already be warm. I can just reach down and find them in here. I've also got my what I call my nighttime kit. It's got some medicine and then my saline. It's got a bunch of stuff in here actually, but I didn't need all this tonight. Lotion, earplugs, my saline, and my contact lens case. I'm putting it in here to keep that from freezing. Don't need a frozen contact. You know, I keep that in the bottom of my bag all the time anyway. So base layer top, base layer bottoms, one pair of socks. I've got these little gloves that I'm going to, I just picked up from Walmart the other day because they have the, I have a pair of gloves that are fingerless, and the thumb is fingerless. But I didn't realize until just a while ago when I put these on that the thumb's not cut out of this one. But anyway, I got this because of the little mitten thing on the back. I can flip over if I need to. They're actually quite warm, like this. Alright, I have on my head, let me turn that around. It's going to be so bright. I have on my head a crocheted cap that I did, and sometimes I will put this balaclava over a cap and pull this down, and it usually will keep it on my head, and then I can also have a little warmth on my neck and around my face. Tonight I've got these little string things that I can tie this under my chin if I need to, just to keep it on. Then I'll put that on over it. And a lot of times I will put this, like if it's cold, I'll bring this on up over my nose. And when I breathe, you know you have moisture that comes out of your mouth all night, I mean when you're breathing. And you don't want to breathe that into your bag, but then when you breathe it out, it kind of condenses around the nose and mouth area. So I have found if I wear this and put this up over my nose, this may get a little moist, but it cuts down on freezing, having icicles hanging out of my nose or by morning. Not that that's happened. Anyway, I just put this over the top of my crocheted cap, and it just adds a little insulating factor. So if I get cold in my base layer, I've got my rain pants, like I said. I've also got, this is another rain jacket. I mean a rain jacket that I can put on. It's just packed away in its little pocket if I need to. Or I've got this thinner one that I could slip on just to hold in heat if I need it. All this is just, I'm speculating. I don't know what I'm going to need, because I've not slept out at 20 degrees before. So all this is just here to see what I need. There's my Wi-Fi. I'm going to watch a movie here in a minute. Here's my down jacket. If it gets super cold, I can put my down jacket on. I keep that handy. There's my battery pack. When I'm sleeping at night, if it's cool, the cold will cause batteries to drain more quickly. This is my battery pack. I will put this, sometimes I have slipped it under this lower pillow here. I'll talk about my pillows in a minute. But I'll put it up under here, put my battery pack, and have it plugged into my phone and put my phone over here and sleep like that, and that keeps it from getting too cool. Plus I can keep up with it. I have, if I get my battery on my phone charged all the way up, I will sometimes just turn it off and throw it in the bottom of my sleeping bag, and it'll stay warm down there and not waste my battery. So I'll do that. I will probably most likely end up throwing it down the bottom of my sleeping bag, my quilt, rather than run the risk of it trying to slip out from here and getting cold. So this is a static V climate. It's non-insulated, but it has a 1.3, not quite 1.5 R value, I think is what it's called. So, since there's so much cold that comes up from the ground and it cools off the air in this, which in turn cools off your back and everything that's touching it, can just rob you of your heat and just really cause a problem. I'm using this. It's made by Nemo. It's called the Switchback, Nemo Switchback. It's orange on one side and it's got this reflective layer on this side. I have successfully used this to block, this will actually block the cold from the ground, and any heat that's in here, the air that gets here, it actually will reflect it back. I have also used it on top of this with the silver side toward me, and I warm up significantly. Now the only problem with that is with that against my body, I have noticed condensation down in these little holes the next morning, and I don't like that. So I'm going to try this here, see how this works. It worked fine on my last trip. It wasn't cold, terribly cold or anything, but it was a significant difference having this face up versus this face up, as far as feeling the coolness from the ground. Now, I was in a shelter all this last time, but I could tell a big difference. Alright, I've got a half buff that I'm probably going to put on and just have it around my neck. Alright, now, I have trouble with my ears. I also have sinus trouble, so there's constant drainage, and if I don't sleep on a high enough pillow, the drainage from my sinuses, and when it's cold like this, they run even more, which is kind of just typical of cold weather. It will run into my ears, and when it does that, the next morning, I will have trouble with dizziness. I've had it happen before out camping, and it was not fun. So, I have to have two pillows. I have this one that I just made a homemade attachment. Burned a little hole through that because that's not a air holding part. Oops, can't see that. Right there. Just a little shot cord. I super glued a little piece of, I can't remember where I got what this is. I think that's some iron-on stuff, iron-on material. Oh yeah, patch material for clothing. And just made this little loop. It holds this pillow still. This one stays on here all the time. There's the little valve to blow it up. I don't fill it up all the way. I let it have a little push to it to keep it from being so hard. Then I use this pillow on top. Inside of here is I think it's a Cedar Summit pillow I picked up. Somebody was selling on one of the backpacking gear Facebook pages for $10. I got it. And I wanted a pillowcase because I can't stand the feel of this on my face. And I also put in a little bit of, got a little sewing here, a little bit of whatever this stuff is called, batting. It's kind of not a great job of it sewing, but anyway. And made a little bit of softness on top to make it feel more like a pillow at home. So when I have both of these pillows, it gives me enough height to keep my head from tilting backwards and keeps the drainage out of my ears. Therefore, I don't have dizziness troubles the next day. That's probably a luxury item, I guess I probably would call it. For me, it's a necessity. If I want to walk the next day, I'll be using two pillows. Otherwise, I'm going to have vertigo and it won't be fun. Well, I won't go far. Alright, that has my sleep system covered. I guess if it got so cold, I've got the down jacket. That should be plenty. I've got two rain jackets back there. I don't know why, I can't remember why I brought both out. One's thinner than the other, I think. you know, I can try it in stages, just see what works. I came out here, well, because I was in my long johns. There's some pants and a fleece jacket I had on. I guess if worse comes to worse, I can always put that on. Here's a tip though, if you, depending on how many clothes you're carrying backpacking, if your feet tend to get colder than anything else and the rest of your body is fine, you can technically take a jacket and slip it, zip it up part way and slip it over the bottom. Well, I guess zip it up all the way and then slip it up over the bottom of this so that basically it would be zipped and it would be around here. That would be another insulating thing for your feet. Or you could put it down inside of your bag and just wrap it around your feet, and that would offer a little more insulation. I have, this last trip I was on, I did take the down jacket and stuffed it in the bottom of my quilt because that hole was open and I had air blowing in. The wind was blowing right up into that shelter. So I stuffed that jacket down in the bottom of this and my feet were just super warm, super warm. I'm anxious to see if it's actually going to get down to 20. Oh, I've got another pair of socks here if I need to put them on over the others. I want to try everything with my base layer first, and then I'll work from there. I'll put that up there. I'm going to put this on probably. Let's see what the temperature says. It's below 30, if I'm reading that right. Actually, when I first came out, it was reading in the low 20s, and which was about right because I checked on another thermometer before I came out. It said it was 25. Since I've gotten in the tent, though, this looks like it's raised up a little bit. Of course, my body heat's going to do that. I don't know where I can hang it to get a more accurate reading. This is right up here where I'm going to be breathing. Mountain Mama. Actually, I think I'll take that and move it. I'll just hang it right there. It'll be away from where I'm breathing. We'll see. It ought to be fun. And if it just gets to where I can't handle it, I can go in the house as long as they haven't locked the door. I don't anticipate having any trouble. I do hope I brought out some, oh my goodness. Oh, shucks. This was left over from my last trip. I was hoping there were some M&Ms in there. I got excited. Oh yeah, there's my chapstick. I'll get that out in a minute. There's my personal privy if I need it during the night. I'll go out there and do that. I moved to the quilt because I had a mummy bag which is super warm, very warm, and I like it, but when I would sleep mostly on my side, and so rolling from side to side I had trouble keeping well, I'd have it cinched down. Of course, the hole on the mummy bag where my face was, I'm trying to get my hand out, I have it cinched down here, and then when I roll from side to side it would cover over my face, and I just had trouble keeping myself aligned in it. And also getting out in the event I needed to get out quickly, I was having trouble getting it uncinched and unzipped. Because once you're in that mummy bag, you're in the thing. If you close it all the way up, you're in it, and you're not going to get out very quickly, especially if you got to go to the bathroom pad. That's going to be when the zipper gets stuck. That's going to be when you can't get the things undone. And one time I was in a shelter, and I had something was near me. I think it was a mouse, and I think it was just scratching. I don't know what it was doing. It sounded like something was smacking in my ear. And I couldn't get out of that bag quick enough to get to a light to turn around and see what was going on. And I freaked out. So after that, after just being uncomfortably tied up in it, I decided I would move to the quilt because I can, as you can see, I can have my arm out. I'm holding my phone. I can get out quickly. Even with this thing up around my neck, at least my head is out. I can poke an arm out real quick and get to a light if I need to. I'm in my yard. I have 8 cats. They have a tendency to, some of them will mark territory. Even though they've all been fixed, they still like to mark anything new, and they have marked this tent before. It's one of them in particular that does it, but it seemed like 2, I don't know. Somebody had a good time last time I had my tent out, spraying it, and made me mad. I cleaned it all off, but it still had a smell of cat odor, cat pee, which, if any of you know, it's hard to get cat pee odor out of anything. I figured it may work to my advantage, having this tent smell a little bit like cat, because out in the woods, out on the trail, you have mice that sometimes like to come near the tent. Some people have had trouble with them chewing a hole into it. So I'm thinking if I have a little cat pee smell on it, perhaps the mice will stay away. Leave my tent alone. I hope that's the case anyway. Alrighty, well, we'll see how this night goes. I'll update in the morning how it went. Good night. Well, it's about 6:30. And I survived. I know it got down to 20 last night. I looked at the thermometer in the middle of the night, and I just looked at it now, and it's 20. But I made it with this particular setup. I did change where the Nemo, the switchback foam pad is. I put it on top of my sleeping pad. I was a little bit chilly. I was woken up at 2 o'clock to something screaming in the yard that went on, and I ended up getting up to see what it was, and I decided while I was still up, since I was already a little bit chilly, I decided to go ahead and put this on top. And it made a little bit more, I think it made a little bit warmer. If I thought I was going to be camping in temperatures like this, multiple days, I would probably invest in a more insulated sleeping bag. But I don't plan to. This is just to determine if something freak happened and it was super cold one night, not planning on it, that my system would actually be okay for me. And it is. I do need to remember, if I'm really sleeping in freezing temperatures, I need to empty my pack pockets of those things that freeze, like my foaming hand sanitizer is frozen, which is probably not good for the thing itself, but so I have it in here trying to warm it up. And the thing that woke me up at 2 o'clock screaming was I'm pretty sure it was a bobcat. I've never actually heard one before. I've always seen them. They're always quiet. Oh, it was the most scary sound I've ever heard. I ran in the house and grabbed that the spotlight we have to see if I could find it, whatever it was, and could never find it. I did see some eyes in the woods over here close to me, and they never did move. So I'm going to have to see if somebody's put up any reflectors out there or not. I don't think so. Those hunting reflectors. Alright, I guess that's it.